Indeed, already in the 1830s and 1840s, a myriad of inventors had begun constructing electrical distribution systems to bind distant clocks to a single central clock. There's, for instance, the Horloge Mère, the mother clock in Bern, or the celebrated Berlin master clock. In Germany, Leipzig was the site of one of the first such electrically distributed time systems. A man named Hipp, H-I-P-P, then director of a telegraph workshop, launched the Swiss effort at the Federal Palace in Bern, where in about 1890 100 clock faces began marching together. Geneva, Basel, Neuchâtel, Zurich followed in quick succession, each with its own clock coordination system, and railroad lines, where clock coordination was vital, and it entered Switzerland rather late. These were all soon rigged in Switzerland for coordinated time. You needed to know when to get on that train and whose time it was. Without coordinated time, cities, towns, and villages functioned on their own times, marking an individuality that remained unimportant before the railroad. The local jeweler would set a clock in any particular town by the noonday sun, for example. In England, during the 1830s, London time led Reading time by 4 minutes, marched 7 minutes and 30 seconds in advance of Cirencester, and chimed 14 minutes before Bridgewater. If you wanted to display time on the front of a major building, you needed more than one clock. The Tower of the Island in Geneva boasted 3. The big clock face in the center showed Middle Geneva time, about 10:13 in this image. The face on the left showed the Paris-based railroad line time for the Paris-Lyon Mediterranean line, 9:58. And the right-hand clock boasted Bern time, a handsome 5 minutes in advance at 10:18. A few years later, standardization entered the picture, but proceeded line by line. Every railroad company defined its own special time and did so ceremoniously, handing clocks off as it went down the tracks or as it linked up by ferry to distant and overseas ports. Germany, by most accounts, the most advanced in their effort to coordinate time, was still struggling with a hodgepodge of mechanical and electrical systems in 1891 when the aging General Field Marshal Count von Moltke came to speak for the last time to the Imperial German Parliament. It was the 16th of March, 1891, and in his scratchy voice he intoned, "Meine Herren, I will not long detain you, as I am very hoarse, on which account I have to ask for your indulgence. That unity of time, Einheitszeit, is indispensable for the satisfactory operating of railways, is universally recognized and is not disputed. But, meine Herren, we have in Germany 5 different units of time. In North Germany, including Saxony, we reckon by Berlin time. In Bavaria, by that of Munich. In Württemberg, by that of Stuttgart. In Baden, by that of Karlsruhe. And on the Rhine-Palatinate, by that of Ludwigshafen. We have thus in Germany 5 zones with all the drawbacks and disadvantages with result. These we have in our own fatherland, besides those we dread to meet at the French and Russian boundaries. This is, I may say, a ruin which has remained standing out of the once splintered condition of Germany, but which, since we have become an empire, it is proper should be done away with." From the audience came the call, "Very true, sehr wahr, sehr wahr." Von Moltke went on to say that while this piecemeal ruin of time was only an inconvenience for the traveler, it was an actual difficulty of vital importance for the railway business and even worse for the military. What, he asked, would happen in case of troop mobilization? And he's the guy who used railways for troop mobilization to win the Franco-Prussian War. Meine Herren, unity of time merely for the railway does not set aside all the disadvantages which I have briefly mentioned. That will only be possible when we reach a unity of time reckoning for the whole of Germany. The public might bridle, but science, Moltke ended, wanted more still. She wanted a world time based in Greenwich.